friends are synths.
Today I want to make some music with a few bits and pieces of equipment that I've kind of neglected over the past few weeks, or at least I've not used them as much as I would like to have been using them. So I'm going to try and put something together, just picking a few bits of those bits of gear and then see how the results come out. So specifically I'm going to be using my MPC 2500 here. I'm going to use that for the drums, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use the Behringer Model D for the bass, and then I'm going to use the Behringer VC340 in some capacity. So I'm grabbing time in between like work, you know, at lunchtime and stuff to do the different elements. So we'll see how it comes out. I'll cut together a few bits of me building the track, and then at the end I think I'll just play the finished track and you can see how it is. So I'm going to start with the drums, and the plan is basically that I'll write out a bunch of drum patterns on the MPC, and then I will slave it to my computer and I will basically record them clocked to Logic, and then I'll build up a bass line after that. So the sounds I've got for the MPC, I've got, don't know if you'll be able to see the screen, maybe. So I've got the CR78 sound bank loaded in here, but I've also layered up a couple of the sounds like the kick, and you can see the kick's got a 606 bass drum sample in there, and the sample also has been layered up with a 606 sample because whilst I like the CR78 on its own, a wee bit of snare and kick and all the rest of it from 606 will help expand the sound. So I'm going to write out a bunch of patterns for now and then record them and then move on to the bass line. Right. That's my patterns written for this track. I've done a bunch of different things that I think I can then sequence into something that might be interesting, I don't know. But what I'm going to do now is hook up the MPC to Logic via MIDI, and I'm going to clock out from Logic via my ERM multi-clock. I'm going to record the different patterns from the MPC, and then I'm going to arrange them in my DAW and then move on to doing the melody stuff. The cool thing about this MPC in particular is that it has 8 outputs built in as standard. It's not like an additional expansion board or anything. So that means I can take each individual sound out, or at least most of the individual sounds, and then if I want to beef up the kick later by running it through a preamp or something, I can do that. So I'm probably going to use 6 of the 8 outputs, get the kick separate from the hi-hats and the toms, and then have the snare separate as well. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then move on to the melody, which will be the Model D for the bass, I think. So here we have my various outputs set on this. I've got each or a bunch of different groups set to different outputs. So you see it cycling through there, and if we go down here, we should see different different channels lighting up. So now I'm just checking that they're all working on Logic. So as in I've got the channel set up properly. Go over here, and each channel should have a wee bit of signal. Yeah, cool. I think I probably need to bring down the levels a wee bit on each of them because they're peaking. So I'll do that now. It's an exact science here, you can see. Now I'm going to record the patterns. colors, add some colors. Purple, brown, red, yeah. Now that I have my pattern or my basic arrangement, I've chopped up the different bits of the drum beat into this kind of, you know, beautiful, colourful arrangement here, and that's going to act as the basis or the foundation of the track. And I'm now going to use the Model D for the bass line, which is here, and I'm going to sequence it using the polyend tracker. So I've just got it hooked up via MIDI. The clock is coming from the ERM multi-clock via this yellow cable, which is coming from Logic. And the way I'm going to go about this is tackle each drum bit as like a phrase. So I'll work on bass lines that work with the applicable drum sequences or drum sections, and then I'm going to add other stuff on top of it. So the bass line will be quite loopy along with the drums, but then whatever I put on top will kind of flow over it all and break it up, so it's not quite as, you know, chunk orientated. And that's the plan. That's all the plan. Is that not working? Oh, you fucking pain in the arse. MIDI panic, MIDI panic, MIDI panic. Oh. Fuck you, Squark, you fucking piece of shit. My pyramid crashed like a bastard. Oh, and it's lost it. Of course it has. MIDI. Fuck, I have to do this all over again. Oh, you fucker, didn't record it. So the bass lines are recorded and chopped up, and now I'm going to add some strings on this Behringer VC340. I don't know if the strings quite fit really the sound that I was expecting, but I want to use this synth, so I'm going to try it anyway and record a bunch of stuff and chop it up and see where I go from there. I think I'm coming near to the end of this track. As you could see, I added the VC340, the strings, which always remind me of Gary Newman, and it kind of took the track in a bit of a direction that I didn't quite anticipate. But then I was experimenting with seeing what extra synths I could add in there for a bit of flavour, because I didn't want it all to end up with the strings plastered across the whole track, because it would quickly get quite boring. And as you saw, I tried to add on, where did I put it? This wee device, which is called the Sismo Quadrox, and I'll talk about that another time. But it ended up as a kind of nightmare sound, which didn't quite work. I tried to record a lot of bits and pieces, but it sounded like a demon laughing, which was very odd. So in the end, I went with the PO24, which is the Office, and I ran it through the Microcosm, got some textures, and I don't know if I'll add anything else, but I'm going to go through and do some production stuff to it, tidy it up, and I think I'll be done, because I think that's all there is to do with this, really. So I'll probably play it out shortly. Enjoy, thanks for watching.